You seem so familiar.
Like looking in a mirror.
Like looking at one of Quan Chi's minions.
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're looking at celebrity performances in Mortal Kombat. Which celebrity performance was your favorite to experience in this bloody brawler? Let us know down in the comments.
Starring in yet another Ninja Mime sequel isn't what I'd call duty.
I need to provide for you in the manner to which you become accustomed.
Jeez, guys, I'm right here.
Before we begin, we publish new videos all week long, so be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Megan Fox.
If I'm a monster, then you're one too.
Our circumstances are not the same!
Megan Fox's inclusion was somewhat of a surprise for some of us. Her voice just doesn't exactly match with the menacing vampire demon Nitara, but it's almost impossible to not be in on the joke here. Fox is widely known for her role as the succubus in the 2009 horror comedy Jennifer's Body, so casting her as a vampire demon isn't totally out of left field. Plus, she has said in the past that she is a big fan of Mortal Kombat, so regardless of how you feel about her performance, at least her inclusion has some logic and a fairly wholesome passion behind it.
You conspired against my family.
Better yours should suffer than mine.
Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa.
When you die, Kitana will be unprotected.
Enough mind games and distractions.
Your concern for her is a weakness.
This was arguably the biggest announcement for Mortal Kombat 11 in the months leading up to launch. The Mortal Kombat films of the mid to late 90s are by no means decent movies, but they do matter to hardcore Mortal Kombat fans because of their hokey tone. So, when Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa was revealed to be the actor behind MK11's Shang Tsung and uttered that famous "your soul is mine" line, many of us lost our minds. And to make it even better, Tagawa knocked it out of the park in matching modern MK's tones in how characters are written and converse with each other. If you haven't played MK11's Aftermath expansion, by the way, it is perhaps the best story involving the manipulative sorcerer.
Fritz. Shang Tsung wins.
Peter Weller.
I thought about being police once.
What kept you off the straight and narrow?
Straight and narrow doesn't pay shit.
This one was also a bit of a shocker. Prior to MK11, Peter Weller had been away from RoboCop for quite some time, having not been a robot of the law since RoboCop 2 in 1990. He would later go on to primarily direct episodes of various television shows, and even narrated the documentary on the making of God of War 3, God of War: Unearthing the Legend. So there was something truly heartwarming about hearing Weller's voice come out of RoboCop for the first time in almost 30 years. Dead or alive, we would gladly go with him.
Are all cops back home like you?
I am unique, Cabal.
And killing you is gonna be something special.
Kelly Hu.
The Kaitian do prefer solitude, which I will achieve momentarily.
Of Mortal Kombat's history with celebrity voice actors, Kelly Hu is the only one who has had the fortunate opportunity to now voice characters across 3 games. You probably know her as the voice of Karai in some of the TMNT games, but in Mortal Kombat X, the 1993 Miss Hawaii USA winner got to voice 3 characters: Frost, Sindel, and the ever so creepy and disgusting bug lady, Devora. Of course, she would voice Devora once again in MK11, but for MK1, her role has changed. She is now the voice of the new Li Mei, and also voices the badass elderly woman, Madame Bo.
I will prevail, Earthrealmer. This fight is more important to me than you can ever know.
Matthew Mercer.
Police brutality coming up.
Most folks know Matthew Mercer as the host of Critical Role, where he plays the Dungeon Master for his fellow voice actor friends in their campaigns. Of course, he has also been featured in a number of games, one of which is the 2011 reboot for Mortal Kombat. However, this is not the only Mortal Kombat role Mercer has ever received, as he has voiced characters in the animated movies. But in MK9, Mercer voiced Curtis Stryker, who didn't exactly have that big of a part in the last third of the campaign. Still, he did do a great job at making Stryker sound kind of a badass. Sylvester Stallone.
There's more like you out there?
The swarm numbers in the millions.
This war isn't ever ending.
Rambo was perhaps the strangest choice for a guest fighter, but we won't lie, it made for an interesting end to MK11's post-launch support. But what made Rambo's addition pleasantly surprising was the fact that old Sly himself did the voice work, and we got everything you'd want. Cheesy one-liners, the ridiculous traps and weaponry, the yell, everything. Was Stallone our first choice for a Mortal Kombat guest? Never. Never in a million years. But you know what? He turned out great.
Rambo wins.
Lyndon Ashby, Bridget Wilson, and Christopher Lambert.
Marry me and be Hollywood royalty.
And get hounded 24/7 by paparazzi?
Like they'd mess with you?
Towards the end of MK11's post-launch support, we did get one last hurrah to mark the anniversary of the first Mortal Kombat movie. In November 2020, MK11 received a DLC pack of costumes named the Classic MK Movie Skin Pack. Not only do Johnny, Sonya, and Raiden look the way they did back then, but all three actors, Ashby, Wilson, and Lambert, provided all new voice lines for each character. If you truly did love the movies from the 90s, you most likely bought this pack the second it came out.
You do not need to test my faith, Lord Raiden.
I'm testing might, not faith.
Then I await your judgment.
Ronda Rousey.
For 25 years, the Special Forces have been Earthrealm's sword and shield. We've pushed back Shao Kahn, defeated Shinnok, yet none of our victories have come without cost.
So, of all the celebrity performances we've seen in Mortal Kombat, this one was the worst. At first, the former MMA fighter's inclusion was somewhat divisive amongst MK fans. Sure, Rousey looked like she could be Sonya Blade in real life, but then the game came out, and she totally botched it with half-hearted, monotone deliveries. We seriously have to wonder whose idea it was to get her in the recording booth, because what came out of there was not at all what Sonya should have sounded like.
That's an order. Your duty. Mine's to finish the mission.
Keith David.
Why haven't you conquered the Netherrealm?
I neither need nor want it.
The damned need leaders more than anyone.
Spawn was in a Mortal Kombat game. That's an event we never thought would happen in any timeline, but it did with MK11, and when we first heard Keith David's illustrious voice coming out of our demon spawn, it was pure bliss. While Keith David is largely known as Dr. Facilier in Disney's The Princess and the Frog and the Arbiter in the Halo series, Spawn was one of his first big roles when the comic was adapted for an animated series on HBO. Since then, he has been considered by many to be the voice of Spawn and the only voice for Spawn. Plus, hearing him utter that Soul Calibur reference was just pure ecstasy.
You've been to other dimensions.
Each has had its own injustices.
Maybe that's why my soul still burns.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
To spend your life creating fantasies.
Create? Honey, I am the fantasy.
We are beginning and ending with Mortal Kombat 1 for good reason. This role has allowed the franchise to come full circle. See, the original Mortal Kombat was developed with Jean-Claude Van Damme in mind to play as the main character. Unfortunately, a pre-existing contract prevented Van Damme from being able to be a part of it. As a result, the studio came up with Johnny Cage as a tribute to Van Damme's character in the movie Bloodsport. Now, here we are with a Mortal Kombat game where the famed martial artist is one of the main characters, and he is none other than Mr. Cage. Not only that, but Johnny is modeled after Van Damme and has an outfit based on Bloodsport. And on top of that, Jean-Claude Van Damme voices the character when you have that skin equipped. We may finally get a glimpse of the original vision behind Mortal Kombat as it should have been 30 years ago.
I was kidding about the muscles. You are ripped.
You think flattery will save you?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out some of our other videos here on MojoPlays, and don't forget to subscribe for more great stuff every day.